Hey there. All right. You guys are doing really great with polygons so far. So today, last week we started looking at quadrilaterals and the types of quadrilaterals. And like I said, this week we're going to look at parallelograms, which is a type of quadrilateral. A parallelogram, remember, is a shape that is like a slanted, that's not very good. More like, it's like a slanted rectangle, okay? That better? No. That must be better. Yes. Okay, so first things first, notes right below this video. I have everything that I'm about to say written out for you guys so it can be, you can hear me say it and then you can see what I've written in case it's hard to follow a video. All right, so remember, parallelogram is if you have a rectangle and you slant it. Okay, so this is going to be parallelogram P, Q, R, S. We name it just by saying parallelogram and naming all four vertices. So P, Q, R, S. It doesn't have to be in any sort of order. I usually like to start up here or go in alphabetical order, depending on how it's labeled. All right, so there are four properties that we're going to look at, and then we're going to try two examples, okay? I'm not going to write all the properties out perfectly on this board, but they are all in the notes right below for you. So the first property of a parallelogram is that opposite sides are congruent. So PQ is congruent to SR. Remember, congruent means equal, the same, okay? Another opposite sides are right here. So SP is going to be congruent to QR. They aren't necessarily equal to all four, but the opposite ones are equal. Okay. Another thing that we know, this isn't in one of the four properties, but it is an overarching property of this type of polygon, is that they are parallel. So opposite sides are parallel, meaning these sides are parallel. If you ever see that little triangle going the same way, that's what that means. These here, if we have double, that means that these are parallel to each other, but nothing else. Okay, so opposite sides are congruent and parallel. Cool. Second property says that opposite angles are congruent. So opposite angles would be like angle S and angle Q. So angle S would be equal to angle Q. Okay, and angle P here, I'm going to show with two tick marks because it's not equal to S and Q, is going to be equal to angle R. All right. The third property says that consecutive angles are supplementary. So if you remember from a while back, we talked about complementary and supplementary angles. It was a long time ago. Supplementary angles are the ones that add up to equal 180 degrees. All right. So consecutive angles would be ones that are next to each other. So S and P. Angle S plus angle P will equal 180 degrees. Angles S and R. They are next to each other, so they will add up to equal 180 degrees. P and Q will add up to equal 180 degrees. They are consecutive. They are one right after the other. And the last one would be Q and R, are supplementary. Okay. So remember, opposite means they're the same. If they're, boom, like consecutive, then they're supplementary. All right, now the fourth property is one I'm not necessarily going to write on the board, but it says that if one angle, so if any one of these angles is a right angle, meaning it's 90 degrees, then all angles are 90 degrees. Because think about it. If one's 90 degrees, that means it's shifted up to be a perfect right angle. It's created a rectangle, is essentially what has happened in that case. Okay? All right, let's try a couple examples. Oh, I have to erase my perfect parallelogram. Oh no. Let's hope I can draw another one. Not bad. All right, so I'm going to say we're going to start with parallelogram ABCD. Again, it doesn't matter which one you start at. And we're going to find A and B here, not necessarily these two. That's a bad example. We're going to find little a and little b for what I'm about to label. So I'm going to tell you that this side up here, BC, is equal to 2a, and that AD is equal to 34. And then angle B up here is 8 little b, and angle D down here is 112 degrees. Okay? I'm going to start with A. So I have 2a and 34 on opposite sides. I know opposite sides are equal, so to solve for A, I'm going to set them equal. So I'm going to say that 2a equals 34. Now I'm going to solve this equation by dividing each side by 2. And A will equal 17. Okay? On this one over here, to solve for B, I know that opposite angles are congruent. So what I'm going to do in this case, again, is say that 8b equals 112. Now I can solve this equation by dividing each side by 8. And I will get that b equals 14. Okay? Remember, opposite are equal. That sounded like horror. Opposites are equal. And if that isn't a lesson that we can pull into life every day, I don't know what else is. All right, let's try another example. I'm going to relabel my parallelogram. Don't worry, all of these are in your notes right below this video to make it easy on you guys. All right, this one is going to be L, M, N, O. In this one, we're going to find X and Y, which I'm about to label for you. So I'm going to say that angle L is 3y. Angle O is 6x. And angle N is 12x. So our first instinct is probably always, if you're like anything like me, my first instinct is to solve the easiest first. And usually the easiest are things that are equal to each other. What's congruent? Opposite angles are congruent, right? Can I set it up? If I have 3y equals 12x, I can't solve that without knowing something first, which is what is x or y. I have to know x or y before I can ever solve this. So now, you might look at this for a minute and you're like, what, right? Just take a deep breath. Look at your properties. Property number 3 said that consecutive angles are supplementary. So again, we can't use these consecutive angles, 3y and 6x. We're going to be in the same predicament. However, 6x and 12x are supplementary. Supplementary angles will add up to equal 180. So I can take them first and say that 6x plus 12x equals 180. 6x plus 12x, sorry, there's a horrible glare there, is 18x. 18x equals 180. If I divide each side by 18, I will get that x is equal to 10. I found x right there. Okay, so now that I know what x is, I can solve for y. First thing that I'm going to do is plug 10 in for x. So 3y equals 12 times 10. All right, 12 times 10 is 120. So 3y equals 120. And if you need to use a calculator, it's okay. I've been doing math for a very long time and know a lot of my operations pretty quick. Plus, I also wrote these notes ahead of time and used a calculator if I needed it. Okay, last step is divide each side by 3. So 120 divided by 3 will give us 40. And now we have officially solved x and y in this problem. Okay? Okay, so I know that was a lot. If you need any help, let me know. We can exchange, you can send me the problem you're working on. I can send it back with some hints. We can jump on a Zoom call or any other video chat format that works for the both of us, and I can walk you through it. Whatever you need, just let me know.